We are going full Harry Potter. It is Harry Potter's birthday next week, so we are making Harry Potter's birthday cake. The classic one that you can see in that recipe book right there, where Hagrid has sat on it and he gives it to Harry the first time that they meet. I freaking love Harry Potter and I'm so excited to make this cake. So I appreciate this looks like a lot of ingredients, but I promise it is really easy to make. And we are making a really rich, indulgent chocolate cake. So the first thing we're going to do is create a kind of giant hot chocolate in a way. So I've got some cocoa powder in here, and then grab my scales and hot water, and we put some hot water in here, and then we also have some milk and vanilla in here as well. So I'm going to pour that in at the same time and whisk this all together, and then we are going to leave this to one side to just cool down a little bit whilst we make the rest of our cake batter. So blooming heavy. So we're going to make this like pretty much any other cake. We're going to start off with our butter and our sugars, and I have both caster sugar and light brown soft sugar in here as well. And then we're going to mix this together on a medium to high speed for about 3 minutes until it becomes nice and fluffy. And then we are going to add all of our eggs in one go. And mix that again for about another 3 minutes on a medium to high speed. So what I'm going to do now is just go around the edge and the bottom and make sure that I've got everything off the sides. Now it is time to add in our hot chocolate mixture and also our flour. I like to do this in stages just to try and mix it in better and prevent it from splitting as much. So in this bowl I have some plain flour, and I'm going to add to it some bicarb and some baking powder. Give it just a quick mix together. So the order that we're going to do it is some flour, wet mixture, a little bit more flour, wet mixture, and we're going to finish it with flour. So always start with flour and always end with flour as well. So let's pop a little bit of our flour in and just give that a mix on the lowest speed until it's all come together. Then whilst this is on, we're going to put half of our chocolate mixture into it. Just put it in very slowly, and we add another third of our flour mixture in. Got it all down my KitchenAid. Let it come together again. Add our last lot of the hot chocolate mixture in, and then we add the last lot of flour in. This is going to need a little bit more mixing, especially at the bottom of the bowl. We're going to grab our whisk rack and just really go in at the bottom in particular and around the edges. So now we can pour it into our tins and get baking. So I have 2 8-inch tins here which I've greased and lined, and we're simply just going to pour it in as best we can. It's a very liquidy batter, but it makes a really, really fudgy sponge. Try and get it as even as you can. So we're going to bake these at 160 degrees Celsius, that's for a fan assisted oven, for around 25-ish minutes. It might need 30. You just want to make sure that a skewer comes out completely clean. Cakes are out of the oven. I had one that was done in 27 minutes and one that took 35. The left side of my oven is hotter than the right, and it just did a lot quicker, which shows the importance of testing your cakes to make sure they are cooked before you take them out. So we're going to leave these to cool completely in their tins, and then we can decorate. The cakes are nice and cool in the background, so we're going to move on to our buttercream now, and I'm going to do a raspberry buttercream, mainly to get the colour of the icing, but obviously also to flavour it as well. So I've got some raspberries here in a pan on a low heat, and I'm just going to keep kind of squishing them a little bit until the juice starts to come out of it. I'm not adding any sugar or anything because obviously we're making a very sweet buttercream, so I don't want to add any excess sugar where I don't need to. That'll do, donkey, that'll do. Wrong film, but good quote. And then I'm going to strain it in a bowl through a sieve because I don't want any of the seeds in the buttercream. So we're just going to press it through the sieve. Now it is very liquidy, so we can only put a little bit in our buttercream, so I might need to still colour it, but it is going to give us a bit of a kickstart. I do need this to be completely cool though, so I'm going to leave that to the sides, and then we can make the actual buttercream. In a bowl, I'm going to add all of my softened butter in. This is real butter. It's really important to use real butter when you're making buttercream because baking spread, for example, just doesn't set very well. And then we're going to mix this for a good few minutes, really around 5 minutes, until it has got pale and it is increased in volume as well. So as you can see, it's got a lot paler. I feel like there's icing sugar everywhere because I've just poured it out. and it is increased in volume slightly too. So now we're gonna add in half of our icing sugar. Now, if you watched my buttercream masterclass video, which I'll leave a card if you want to watch it, you'll see that I used a ratio of 1 to 1.75. Because I'm adding a lot of liquid into this, I am gonna be doing 1 to 2. 1 part butter, 2 parts icing sugar. And then we're gonna mix this really slowly to start with. We're gonna get an icing sugar cloud and then mix it for in total about 3 minutes. Then I'm going to add the other half in, but I am going to save just a little bit at the end. It should help the mixture stop splitting slightly with the raspberry coolie type liquid we've got going in. And then just repeat the process. So before I add the raspberries in, I am just going to take out a little bit of buttercream because I'm going to colour it green, and that's what I'm going to use for the writing. And then I'm going to add in a little bit of our raspberry coolie type liquid. Make sure it's cool before you do it. So I'm going to start off with just a few tablespoons first, and then we're going to whip this together. Can handle a bit more, so we'll go for a little bit more. As you can see, we've got a really nice pink colour already, and let's go again. It's starting to split, so this is where I'm going to bring in the rest of the icing sugar and mix that in slowly. As you can see by the book, it is definitely pink, but it's a bit more raspberry colour. We're kind of like baby pink here, so I'm just going to add a couple of colours in. I'm going to do a tiny bit of red and a tiny bit of purple, and then give that a good mix in. Pretty happy with that. We've kind of got a darker pink now instead of the baby pink that we had before. So now we can get decorating. I usually use a cake stand for this, but I'm going to put it onto this board because it's Harry Potter theme. I'm going to put some buttercream down first of all, and this is going to help the cake stick to it so it doesn't move as much. Then we're going to grab one of our cake layers, and I like to flip it upside down. Get some big dollops of buttercream for the centre and spread it all around. Then grab the other layer, and again I'm doing it upside down to give us a nice clean edge. And then we just put loads and loads of our buttercream on, and then we push it into the cake and spread it round. And the good thing about this is it's meant to be a messy cake. So it doesn't have to be neat at all. And I'm just going to work it around the sides. So usually I would go around this with a cake smoother, I'd do a crumb coat, and then I'd do a top coat. I'm not going to do any of that because it's purposely meant to be messy. I mean, Hagrid sat on it. So I am going to smooth it round a little bit. I mean, it feels very weird to make a messy cake, I must say. I'm just constantly trying to like make it look better. No offense, Hagrid. Okay, so it's kind of got some like texture on it, so I'm just going to give it some texture. I mean, it literally looks like it's been sat on, so there's a bit of something in the middle. Texture across here, texture across there, and that's my cake. I'm going to pop it in the fridge just so it can harden slightly before we make the indents in it, and also before we put the writing on. So I'm just going to leave it for 20 minutes in the fridge just to set a little bit. I'm trying to think which way it was. Anyway, we're going to make the indents now because that is going to guide me with the writing as well. So I'm going to make this one first, and it kind of comes straight, goes out slightly, and then comes down. And then there's another one that kind of starts here and comes all the way around, and then there's a little hump. I don't think it's quite right, but it's okay. I think that's meant to be higher up. We can work with it though. So I have coloured my other buttercream green, and I'm just going to go for it and try and do this writing. I'm not the best at doing writing anyway, which maybe is a good thing in this scenario. But let's see how we get on. Let's start with the H. A bit at the top, and then it comes down and stops, and then it's a big squidge there and a little squidge there, and then it comes this way and down, not too bad. And then the A is like higher up, and it's quite neat actually. And then the P's are fairly small and they look fairly neat. This one looks kind of square. And then remember to spell it incorrectly. Got an E here that comes straight down that line, kind of has a bit that goes like that. And then this one goes a bit more straight and it comes longer that way. And then this is a bit wobbly. Oh, breathe, breathe. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that so far. Happy, happy, happy. Ah, like I planned it. I didn't. We did it. Breathe. I'm so happy. It's not perfect, but I'm actually really pleased with it. I'm really proud of it. I love Harry Potter. I watched it, well, I went to the cinema when it first came out. I'm that old. I'm so glad that I've finally been able to make it, and I'm so pleased with it as well. I don't want to cut into it. I think this is the first cake ever where I don't want to cut into it. I feel like I just want to leave it a bit. I'm just going to admire it for a little bit. But I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you want more Harry Potter bakes, please let me know in the comments. Happy birthday, Harry Potter. I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.